Got good vibes. I got good vibes. A parent messaged me today and said, Josh, I love the informative videos that you do. I have 2 daughters with dyslexia, and it'll be cool if you could talk about the dyslexic. 5 things I just learned, and you probably should know about those with dyslexia. 5. Number 1, anybody can be dyslexic. Now, as humans, we tend to think anything that may affect our mental or ability to learn, we think it affects only certain demographics, or we look certain ways, or we have certain traits. When it comes to dyslexia, anybody can have dyslexia. The Rock, that smart dude, that short dude, that tall dude, that fine woman, that thick woman, that skinny woman, that Spanish child, that African-American child, that Caucasian child, that person from Florida. Anybody can be affected by dyslexia, so nobody's going to walk in a room and you're going to say, yup, he dyslexic. Having dyslexia does not come with certain traits. Anybody can have it, and you can't tell just by their physical appearance. That's number 1. Number 2, just because I have dyslexia does not mean I can't learn. Where this rumor or myth comes from, I do not know. Dyslexia does not mean the inability to learn. Dyslexia means I'm going to learn at a much different pace than you are accustomed to. So just because I got dyslexia don't mean that we're going to walk into a room, they're going to say, okay, you know what, Josh? We finna do this over here, but you sit over there because we know you ain't going to get it. You know what, Miss Clark? Miss Clark, I can get all this, and I can get your password, and I can leak all the footage and photos that you got in your Instagram that you be tweeting at school when you ain't supposed to be in them, Miss Clark. Now sit me with this group of students, Mrs. Clark. Having dyslexia is like learning to do anything and everything. This child may learn to ride the bike faster. I may learn a bit slower. This child may walk and run a little bit earlier. I may walk and run a little bit slower. My brain is operating at a different frequency than this person's brain. But eventually, we are going to meet up. And when we meet up, I'm going to expose all your business. All of it. Number 3, some of the most influential people of all time are dyslexic. Now, when people hear about anything that's going on, we want to know who has dyslexia because we want to be inspired. Whoopi Goldberg got dyslexia. Walt Disney got dyslexia. Orlando Bloom, dyslexic. Steve Jobs, the dude that invented the iPhone and got us spending all our money every 6 months, is dyslexic. Danny Glover, the guy that said, I'm getting too old for this, dyslexic. Salma Hayek, the finest thing on this earth. Salma Hayek from Dusk Till Dawn. Salma Hayek that ain't never looked older than 32 years old when she was 21. Dyslexic. Some of the most influential, some of the smartest people, half of the Shark Tank cast, yes, the people that you walk to and you try to get your ideas to it, and they slowly tell you no. And then offer to buy 75% of your company for half of the money that you wanted. Dyslexic. Number 4, dyslexia is extremely common. Around 3 million people are diagnosed with dyslexia a year. That means at the rate we are going, in 9 years, 27 million people will be considered dyslexic. So if you are diagnosed with dyslexia, or you have a child with dyslexia, or you have a friend with dyslexia, they are not as uncommon as we think we are. It's more dyslexic people than it is not non-dyslexic people, which means I may have some form of dyslexia that I've never been tested for, and you may have some form of dyslexia that you've never been tested for, which means if everybody's dyslexic, then we are not dyslexic, and we got to think of another name for dyslexia. Y'all get what I'm trying to say? It's coming. And number 5, knowing about dyslexia and learning about it, it can help those with it, and it can help you help those with it achieve the success they like to achieve. Learning to read at a slower pace could be a very laborious task. But if you walk into a situation and you don't know what's going on, you may find yourself getting flustered and frustrated, and that's absolutely fine because you're not aware of the situation. It's imperative that you take your time and try to learn some tools and exercises to help those with dyslexia, whether it be a child or an adult. All knowledge is good knowledge, and once y'all get together, y'all can change the world. Like, think of what Walt Disney did with his dyslexia. Think about what Steve Jobs did. I'm recording this thing on an iPhone right now. You mean to tell me this whole time Whoopi Goldberg was dyslexic and she was one of my favorite actresses of all time? I can be somebody. To those with dyslexia, I salute you for your patience, your perseverance, and the laborious task of learning at your own pace. To anybody out there that feels belittled, to anybody out there that feels troubled, to anyone out there that feels like they're going to have a glass ceiling, don't let that bother you. Your dyslexia cannot limit you. Only you can.